Yeah, it's like a relief from the umpire when both Cox's hands go down together. He thinks, finally I can get this race off. He or she thinks that. Thames Rowing Club absolutely powering off the start. Nice close blades on the front end from Henley Rowing Club on this Buckinghamshire station on the right of your picture. Thames Rowing Club there on the far side will probably shoot the island. My guess is they'll have a little bit of a lead in this race, early doors.
Yeah, Thames the class crew of this event, to be honest, and we're looking at it, and haven't seen much of this Henley crew this season so far, but incredible racing almost to get through to the weekend, and putting up a little bit of a fight there, staying in contention.
Henley beat London A crew in yesterday's race in what were pretty blustery conditions. They slowly built a lead, which they were then able to maintain as they reduced their rating. But Thames Rowing Club, now Thames aren't doing anything special now, are they, Jess? They're kind of moving out in their pace. They're still in their start phase. This is natural for them. They're not pushing or anything. I
think they know going into this you're going to be favourites, and you pretty much by now look at the times and see where you're going to be compared to the people, and they know they're one of the class acts here. You have to have some sort of plan of what you're going to do and where you're going to do it, because it's a knockout and they've got a race tomorrow. So you want to conserve that energy, but you want to, a phrase yesterday Tom Morgan taught me was to snap that elastic band. Don't let them have a hope.
Yeah, the elastic band, you know, if you've got overlap, and Henley are just losing that overlap with Thames Rowing Club A crew. It somehow gives you hope, somehow keeps momentum. It gives the Cox chance to say, look, you know, they've stopped moving. We've halted the rush of Thames Rowing Club A, but I think they're going to move out a little bit further between here and the barrier. Certainly on the first day they did 150 to the barrier, which was by miles the quickest time of any of the eights in this Thames Challenge Cup. 152 yesterday, Henley did 156. So if those barrier times are anything to go by.
When you're in the faster crew, you're always reminding yourself that you're faster, but when you're in the slower crew, you're kind of saying it could be conditions, the wind might be different, it might be, you know, a bit slower water when we race. So that's probably what the thought process for Henley is, but right now they can't see them. A little look there from the bowman. Richard Hume had a little look around. He'll shout to his crew, are we still there? And he's probably going to say yes at this point. You've got to stay in contention.
Yeah, it's quite good when you've got a talky bowman, just to G up the crew, isn't it? You know, just add their voice to that of the Cox. Looks like Thames on the right of your picture are continuing to move away. Let's just give a name check to Thames. Jim Beattie in the bow seat, the 31 years of age. Estate agent Sam Thornton, Zach Ewell, Archie McChesney. Raced for Radley in the Princess Elizabeth here for many years, familiar name in rowing. Ben Heap in the 5 seat, the 31-year-old. Roy Hodgson, Jake Chug Brown in the 7 seat, stroke Michael Trevina, the former Newcastle athlete, and Cox, we've mentioned her, referenced her, Anna Taylor, 26 years of age. She's now, really interesting job that Hannah Taylor's got, a falconer at the Hawke Conservancy.
Very interesting job. When you get into that, they're so experienced in this crew. That's what we're looking at as well, Martin. You go through that list of them, we can see how many times these guys have raced at Henley, how many times they've raced junior events, university events, and now they're here in this men's club event, the Thames Challenge Cup. So they've got that. They're here to win this event, aren't they?
I don't know too much about the head coach, Sander Smulders, except, you know, he was a Dutch international rower and he worked with Ben Lewis. But now he's running the programme all by himself.
Yeah, you see Sander on the water pretty much 24/7 if you're down in Putney. He's out there all the time. Sometimes you might even see him in the rowing boat. He subs in quite a lot. And I mentioned it yesterday, but majority of this year, the vast majority of this year, these Putney clubs have rowed on a tiny little loop. So, you know, maximum, depending on the tide, of only about 5-minute loops. So 3 weeks ago, Hammersmith Bridge has been closed, and now they've got to go through the bridge and row for a longer duration. So maybe it's paying off for them. But the short loops pretty good to turn pretty quickly now around these buoys if you see them, but they're doing a really good job with that programme with all the constraints and constrictions thrown at them, so looking pretty good there. Bit of clear water.
Yeah, great idea of the speed. I would imagine, what are we moving at, something like in this headwind, maybe about 18 kilometres an hour, something like that. I won't have that exactly right, but get an idea from our drone of the speed these 8s are cutting through the water.
And the bit of the headwind, Martin, it's going to drop the rate a bit, would you say? How have they been looking?
It's really interesting what the coaches are going to do for it, because you can make adjustments to the gearing or rigging of your blade, almost like, you know, selecting a bigger cog on the back of your bike if you've got more sort of resistance to go up, maybe up a hill or against a headwind. And it may be that the coaches have just made the gearing a little bit easier to maintain that sort of rate of striking, 35, 36 strokes. Henley still in contact. I think Thames won't have had to have any major efforts in this race.
But they certainly haven't let up Thames, so Henley are pushing them here. They're being a threat. There's only about a third of length of clear water. It's not wind down time for Thames whatsoever. Really good job here on their home water.
Yeah, we've got, what is it, something like 30, 35 strokes to go, maybe even less than that, as the crews look up and they come towards us now. Thames Rowing Club, there, just at the top of your screen. About 10 strokes to go to the finish from that camera angle. They've looked great throughout this race. Credit to their coaching team, really good effort from Henley too. Barnstorming finish from the boys from Henley, led by Cameron Matossian, the 19-year-old in the stroke seat. It's his first Henley, but to no avail. It's Thames Rowing Club A crew who take this semi-final of the Thames Challenge Cup from their opponents, Henley Rowing Club.